Hello everyone, my name is Megan and welcome back to my channel, or welcome if you're new, and welcome to this month's TBR. This month we are throwing it back to the TBR jar. I haven't solely used this jar in a couple of months, so I think I'm going to pick between 6 and 8 prompts, and that's kind of how we're going to figure things out. I am in the middle of some books which I don't think will fit any of the prompts. For example, I am still currently reading the first book in the Malazan series, and that's probably going to transfer into a little bit of May. Maybe I'll want to read the second book once I'm done with that. Who knows? There are also a couple of readathons happening this month. For example, I might be taking part in the Mafia readathon, which is happening over the first weekend of May, and there's also Becca's Bogoplathon, the 48-hour edition, which is happening at the end of the month of May. If I can fit any of the prompts, I will include some potential things I could read during those readathons. If not, we will see throughout the month and throughout my next weekly reading vlogs what will happen. The month of May is also a month of change for me. I am finished school, so it's back into work mode. I am starting a new job, a new big girl job in the month of May, so it's all exciting things, but who knows how much time I will have to read. Now that all the introductions have been set, the expectations are set, we shall just hop on in and pick our first prompt. I don't even remember what's in here at this point because it's been so long. Let's pick one from the bottom. We are going to get, ooh, new adult. Oh, let me figure this one out and I'll be right back. So this prompt was actually a little bit easier to fulfill than I would have expected. I actually have two options on deck, which are The Heir by Sophie Lark, as well as Falling for Your Best Friend by Emma Sinclair. Two very different books. This one is a mafia romance, and this is definitely new adult because it's basically mafia kids who go to a mafia college, and this one is part of a series that I have been reading throughout 2022, and it follows 5 different best friends and they each have their love story. This one is obviously a friends to lovers romance, and they're in their early 20s, and I still consider that new adult. This would be good for the mafia readathon, but these have been helping out my reading slump. You know what? We're going to go with this one, Falling for Your Best Friend by Emma Sinclair. This is actually the 4th book, if you don't count the novellas, and yeah, very excited for these. These are clean romances, there's no smut in them, so it's not for everyone. I like to put that out there because usually I do read things with smut in them, but I do love them. They're dual perspective, they're super easy to get through, so number 1 on the docket. Now for our second prompt, let's go with this one, which is Out of Comfort Zone. And you know what? I'm gonna put Malazan for this one because, as I said, I'm not finished with it, and I definitely think with the size of it, it should count towards my TBR. So we're gonna put Malazan because that book is like the furthest away from my comfort zone. So we got that. Don't ask me to summarize what Malazan is about because I'm not there yet in my journey. Moving on to number 3. We have Favorite Author. Again, this is difficult. Let me think about it. Again, I had a lot of options for this, but I think I'm going to go for a reread. And the book I will choose is Stalking Jack the Ripper by Carrie Maniscalco because during the Audible sale I got the audiobook version of this, and I've read Stalking Jack the Ripper a gazillion times by now. However, I have never had the audiobook experience, and I've started taking longer walks outside where I listen to audiobooks, and I think it would just be a great book to have for the month of May, kind of like a comfort book within all the changes in my life. So we're going with that. If you don't know what Stalking Jack the Ripper is about, it follows a main character named Audrey Rose who lives in the Victorian era, and she is all about science and making discoveries. And so with her uncle, they partake in like doing autopsies on dead bodies to figure out like the cause of death. And essentially Audrey Rose, her uncle, and her uncle's apprentice Thomas Cresswell work together to figure out the Jack the Ripper murders. Obviously it's all fiction, but I love it. I love Audrey Rose. I love her feminist personality. Thomas Cresswell is definitely my favorite male protagonist in a book. I am still upset to this day that we don't really get his perspective in the books, but you know what, it's fine. Carrie Maniscalco is an all-time favorite of mine, and yeah, I would have said Casey West's new book, but I checked and it comes out on the last day of May, so can't have it on the TBR. I think we're at number 4 now. Let's go with this one. 20 books for 2022, so I need to pick a book out of my bingo board. So let me revisit that and again, be right back. I got my bingo board here. We are not doing so well, y'all. I was killing it in the beginning of the year, but I kind of dropped this. And now I see that Heartstopper Volume 4 is on there, but I also kind of want to read The Bride Test. You know what, we're gonna go for Heartstopper Volume 4, which I'm realizing now I'm not really holding the books, but it is what it is. Here's a picture. We're going to read Heartstopper Volume 4. I did watch the entirety of the first season on Netflix. I read the first 3 volumes of Heartstopper, but I was so like emotionally attached to Nick and Charlie that going into Volume 4 has always been a little bit scary, but I need to break that barrier because the TV show, absolute perfection, and it's just made me want to reread all of them. So Heartstopper Volume 4. Now for the number 5 pick, we're going with this, which is Author of Color. I love this prompt. Let me figure it out. So I have multiple books that could work for this, obviously. One that I've been meaning to read is Ace of Spades by Farida, Avikay. I'm not sure how to pronounce the author's last name. I have heard nothing but great things from this author and from this book. This is a YA mystery thriller that has like those Gossip Girl vibes. I think this has to do with like a boarding school or something like that. I have heard nothing but raving reviews for this book. However, I may be reading this during Spring Fling-a-Ween, which I will be vlogging, which is a like thriller horror readathon hosted by Gabby at Gabby Reads and Olivia at Olivia Reads a Latte. So if I do end up reading it, I would like to reread my favorite book of 2021, which was Amari and the Night Brothers. I have had like an urge to reread this because it's freaking fantastic, and this is by Bibi Alston, who is also an author of color, and all of these books also feature characters of color, which we love the representation. It is super important, and so I might read either of these, but either way, like one of these is going to end up on my TBR. This one I would reread physically. I sampled the audiobook. Not the biggest fan, honestly, so yeah, those are my choices. Amari and the Night Brothers, if you know nothing about it, follows a main character named Amari, who, without explaining too much, ends up at this Bureau of Supernatural Affairs, and she learns that she has powers, and she also tries to solve a mystery regarding her brother, who was also part of the Bureau. So I love it. You can watch a bunch of my reading vlogs and other videos talking about this book if you are so inclined. I will leave some in the cards and in the description if you want to hear more of my thoughts. And now my upstairs neighbor just started vacuuming. I apologize for the inconvenience. I think we can go for at least one last round because I have other projects I want to do in the month of May, so I don't want to give myself too much. And the last one fell on Color Wheel. So I've got my phone here and we are going to screen record. And we are going to spin. Orange. Orange. Okay, I'm gonna stop the recording and I'm going to find an orange book. Okay, I found the book. It is releasing, I believe, in 2 days. I have pre-ordered my copy from Waterstones because absolutely phenomenal. That book is Scandar and the Unicorn Thief by A.F. Steadman, and this one is a new first book in a series in middle grade fantasy. It sounds freaking absolutely phenomenal, and it's one of the many books I'm very hyped for in the next quarter. I will be making a video for May releases very soon, so be on the lookout for that if you want to hear about more books. But yeah, it's one of my most anticipated middle grades of the year, and it has a lot of orange on it. It's orange and red, I will admit to that, but there's orange on the cover, so we're going with it. I cannot wait to receive it in the mail. I don't know how long it will take, but I'm crossing my fingers that I will get it at least before the mid-May, so I have time to read it. But yes, it's very reminiscent of Percy Jackson and a lot of the other middle grade books that I absolutely adore, so very hyped to have that on the TBR. There are other books coming out in May that I would want to get to, like Book People by Emily Henry. There is also the new book from the author of one of my faves of 2021, which is coming out in May. There's the new Casey West book, which I'm very excited about, but I think the names in that book are gonna bug me, but that's, you know, for another time. So there are a lot of new releases that I want to get my little paws on and hopefully read them, as well as all my other reading projects. So thank you so much for watching if you've made it this far, and leave me a orange emoji in the comments below, and I'll see you very soon with another video. Also, feel free to share with me what you're planning to read this month. Bye guys, happy reading!